Hi guys! So I'm here to do our weekly Kids Club moment where we can talk together and share something that God has placed on my mind for you guys. So every time I come down and visit with my parents, I see this rock at their neighbor's house, and this rock is huge. And it reminded me of a devotion that I had read not too long ago about living stones. And so I thought I'd come sit beside this really huge rock and talk to you guys about living stones and what that means. So I was working out of my devotion book that I study and get some ideas for you guys. And I wanted to tell you about these living stones. And in the Bible times, city walls had one main purpose, and that was to keep out the enemy and to keep the people inside safe. So in some ways, those who belong to God are like a strong wall. We're not to keep people out, but to keep out evil and give people a safe, happy place where they can get to know God. But unlike heavy stones that are used to build city walls, we are the living stones, and we are shaped to fit together perfectly in the place that God has chosen for us in the kingdom. So together with other believers, that's why it's so important that we get together and share and grow, that together with other believers, we become like the temple for God. The Bible tells us in 1 Peter, and I want to make sure I read this right for you guys. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 5, you are like living stones built in a spiritual house. God has made each of us He's made each of us different. What's something that you can do that's totally unique? What's a special talent that you have? Is there something that you can do really well? I know Ashley sings and dances really well. I know that the Coppola boys that come to Kids Club with us, they're really good athletes and they play hockey really well. I know that Evan knows a lot about trivia, and I know Chloe likes to sing, and I could just keep going on and on with all of you guys. But God has given us all special abilities to help each other. In this way, we all need each other, and we all depend on each other, and that is what makes a wall or a building strong. When each of us takes our place, and the love between us holds us tightly together. Ephesians chapter 2 tells us that in him the whole building is joined together and rises to become a holy temple in the Lord. Now, in the book of Nehemiah, there is a whole list of names in Nehemiah chapter 3. Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, Job, some Proverbs. Nehemiah chapter 3, it gives us a whole list of people who helped Nehemiah rebuild the city walls and make them strong. Now, these names are pretty tough, so I'm not going to read them today. But if you go look there, you'll see that whole list of people. God knew each of those people, and each one of their names is special to him. So there's another list of names that God is using, and that's the names in the Lamb's Book of Life. It's a list of those who are living for the Lord, and they are living stones in the temple. So I looked around in my parents' yard, and I found a really fun-shaped stone that I'm going to use to help remind us that our names are written down. And so here's my name on the side of the rock that's written down to build God's temple. So I bet you can find a rock around your house. And if you have God in your heart and you've chosen to live for him, you can put your name on a rock to remind you that you are written down in one of those rocks that's building God's spiritual temple. And as we've talked about before, being able to have God in your heart is as simple as ABC. A, you have to admit that you're a sinner, and a sin is anything that you think, say, or do that displeases God. And B, you have to believe that Jesus died on the cross for our sins and he rose again on the third day. And C, you choose to accept him in your heart. And we've talked about that before, boys and girls, and any of the grown-ups that listen to our messages as well. We've talked about that before. There's no special words that you have to say. There's no fancy prayer. There's no special place it has to be said. You just ask Jesus into your heart and ask him to help you live for him and help build that spiritual temple. And guess what? Your name will be written down in the Lamb's Book of Life, like it tells us in Revelations chapter 21. And you will have your name on one of the rocks that's building God's spiritual temple. Boys and girls, until we can be together again, and we're now in the yellow, so that time I hope and pray is coming soon. God bless. Bye.